Good morning and welcome once again to our Bible studies. Today is day 73 of our 365 days of short Bible studies. At the moment we're looking at ancient sagas in the Old Testament. We're in days 71 to 87 and we're looking at the covenant of Moses and the new priesthood, and we're just coming out of the story of the Exodus. At the moment they've just crossed the Sea of Reeds and they sing a song of victory. This is Exodus chapter 15, verses 19 to 21. The Israelites walked through the sea on dry ground, but when the Egyptians' chariots, horses and riders went into the sea, Yahweh brought the water back, and it went right over them. Then the prophet Miriam, Aaron's sister, picked up her tambourine. All the women also followed her, playing the tambourine and dancing. This is what Miriam was singing to them. "Sing to Yahweh, for he has triumphed gloriously. He has thrown the horses and their riders into the sea." If you want to read it, there is a much more recent and much longer Song of Victory, which was probably written for use many years later in the Jerusalem temple. The final editors of these stories put that song into Moses' mouth, and you can read it in Exodus chapter 15, verses 1 to 18. But that was hindsight from a long way in the future. Here we have a short impromptu acclamation, not too different from a repeated football chant, which attests to its primitive antiquity and genuineness. The family relationship between Aaron, Moses and Miriam is muddled and confused in the text, and the truth was probably lost long before anyone wrote it down. So the later editors made their own assumptions and patched it up as best they could. So although Aaron is Miriam's brother here, he's Moses' brother elsewhere. Moses is implied to have been his parents' firstborn in one place, but verses later, see day 67, there's unexpectedly an elder sister watching over him. Nobody seriously looked at this tangle until the 19th century, and then suddenly we discovered how human this process has been. Stories gradually changing in the telling, and ancient scholarly scribes doing their best to tidy it all up and make sense of the differences. So, the children of Israel, as they called themselves, set off into the desert. And there they had to learn new survival skills. In chapter 16 of Genesis, we see them learning to harvest dried honeydew, a source of energy, which they called manna, and quails for protein that came in flocks. And then in chapter 17, they learn where to source water. Both these stories that come from those who called Yahweh and those calling God Elohim agree that their escape and also their survival come from God. They saw themselves as special, God's chosen people, and we'll see how they express that tomorrow.